You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Today's content is going to be accessible on both of my channels. You know, I have my Mocha's Cafe de Paris, my co-ed channel for men and women to follow, and I also have my Mocha's Ladies Lounge as well. My channel specifically for women. I do this so that people have the choice to go where they would feel more comfortable. I understand that due to the shenanigans of the gender war, there's a lot of spaces in which men and women cannot collaborate or share the same space without any drama or toxicity. So I have two separate channels, so people will have the option to go in a space in which is more comfortable for them. So anyway, if you haven't already, you can subscribe to either one or subscribe to both. But every once in a while, I will share the same content on both channels, because I think this is a message that is very imperative for both men and women, that both could benefit from this type of lesson within this situation, because it's happening very commonly, you know. And you have men, you may have men out there, fathers who have daughters, who have children, you know, and also women. You know, we have been in situations in which we have seen or witnessed women leaving their children in the company of other men. So I thought it was imperative that both channels get this content today for that reason. Furthermore, if a lot of you are not already familiar by now, unless you've been following me for quite a long time, you know, I do have a major as a criminal. I do have a major in criminal justice, in which one of the things that I learned and I've come to realize is very true, that whenever it comes to crimes being committed against children, 9 times out of 10 it is from men who indeed have no relation to the child. In most cases, it's the mother's boyfriend, it's her fiance, it could be her boyfriend's, one of her boyfriend's family members, it could be the mother's husband. Like I stated, most of the time when crimes like this are happening towards children, it is from a man who has no biological ties, no spiritual ties to the child, which indeed makes them have less compassion, less sense of integrity when it comes to doing harm to somebody else's child. In other words, in most cases, when it comes to a child being in any type of form of endangerment, it is because they are in the company of a man who has no real bonding, no bond or ties towards the child, which again, most likely will make him more of a threat to that child's safety and well-being. So keep in mind, you basically are putting your child in the hands of a stranger if that child does not have any type of real bond, whether that's biologically, emotionally, or spiritually, towards the person within the care of the child. Okay, so this is coming from Jefferson County, also known in a subdivision as Beaumont County, which is located in Texas. So basically what has happened, y'all, a jury in Judge Raquel West's courtroom decided on a 30-year sentence for Bryce Caesar after convicting him of aggravated assault and injury to a child after his girlfriend's baby died of a crushed skull. As I continue to read the story, keep in mind this is very sensitive story. It takes a lot of maturity to be able to understand how detrimental this type of situation is. So just keep in mind it's very sensitive content. Some of y'all may be able to handle it, some of you may not. But I definitely suggest parental advisory if you have any children or anyone in the room who you do not think is fit for this, mentally capable of digesting this type of traumatizing event. So anyway, basically he's going to be facing life in prison. Really, technically, because it's an older article, but he's already been charged. Okay, he has already been sentenced to 30 years concurrently. So he won't become eligible for parole unless he's at least done 15 years minus time already served. So basically, testimony began Tuesday in the courtroom of Judge West, and the jury returned with the guilty verdict Friday. The panel heard testimony in the punishment phase Friday afternoon and deliberated until about 5 p.m. without reaching a decision on how long Caesar should spend in prison. The judge sent the panel home until Monday afternoon at 1. The jury made its decision on punishment at about 4:30 Monday afternoon. Investigators say K.R. baby K. Richard passed away from a crushed skull in December 2021, only 2 days before her first birthday. Prosecutors say Caesar was mad at the baby because she was crying. Caesar took the witness stand for the defense in the punishment phase. Prosecutors questioned Caesar, and Assistant District Attorney Tommy Coleman focused on what the defendant told detectives during his interrogation. So, prosecutor asked, "You were crying when you cracked the skull?" Caesar, "Yes." Coleman, DA, right out of the gate during the interview with BPD, you said, "I know that it ain't my fault that she died. Was that the truth or a lie?" Caesar replied, "It was a lie." Coleman, "Does this make you a liar?" Caesar replies, "Yes." DA says, "And you want the jury to believe you now, knowing that you lied?" Caesar replies, "Yes." Coleman says, "You told detectives she ain't no baby. You want to say she's not a baby at 11 months old? Is she a baby or not?" Caesar replies, "She's a baby." Coleman says, "You said this baby was spoiled, bad, an attention seeker, did you not?" Caesar replies, "Yes, sir." Coleman, DA says, "You had no money to pay the rent, but you had money to buy marijuana." Caesar says, "Yes, sir." DA Coleman says, "Did you say you'd never be the same? You know you who'll never be the same, this baby. Will she ever be the same?" Caesar replies, "No, sir." DA replies, "You want mercy from the jury. Did you show mercy to this baby?" Caesar replies, "No." Coleman replies, "You popped her. You told investigators, and you popped her again." Caesar replies, "Yes." Coleman says, "You popped her because she was crying. That's what babies do, right?" Caesar replies, "Yes, sir." Coleman replies, "That's what babies do. When they're hungry, they cry, right?" Caesar, "Yes, sir." DA says, "You said KR is acting a fool, right?" And Caesar says, "Yes." DA Coleman, "You admitted to detectives it went too far, right?" Caesar says, "Yes, sir." Coleman, DA says, "Didn't you tell someone last night that you can't stand why the prosecutor Tatiana will be so upset about a dead baby since she has no children?" Caesar says, "Yes, sir." Coleman says, "Do you think she can't have empathy for a dead baby because she doesn't have any kids?" Caesar says, "No, sir." Whew, Lord, this was a lot. Listen, if y'all was paying attention to how that DA like really painted the picture of what kind of guy he is. If y'all was reading in between the lines of questions that he asked them. This just goes to show you how low a lot of these sisters out here are willing to go just to have a man in their life, just to have a stand-in man who pretends to want to be a father, knowing he really does not have the tolerance or the capable abilities of being able to deal with children. So, during this interrogation, no, not interrogation because they're actually in court. During this testimony, he already admitted that he was a liar. He already admitted his lack of compassion by insinuating she's no baby. She's not a baby at 11 years old. He also considered the child as spoiled, bad, and attention seeker. This is somebody who had, if you're paying attention, this is somebody who really does not have any tolerance for children. This is a man, let's just call it for what it is. This man does not like children, okay? He doesn't like kids. Ray Charles can see this man does not like kids. Now keep in mind, because I want y'all to also be aware of his age. Caesar is 25 years old. Okay? The jury has already decided, like I stated, to give him 30 years. Okay? As I go into this, y'all, I'm going to give y'all a little bit more information. So if I'm ping-ponging and jumping all over the place, forgive me, because I'm seeing more stuff that's coming about, and I just don't want to leave out any details, because I really want women especially to understand, when you are thirsty and you are desperate, these are the poor choices that you make. And black women, we cannot afford to make any bad decisions, especially in this time and day and era, because we're already catching a lot of heat. We're not really getting the respect that we deserve. So when we make these type of decisions, it continuously gives society a poor reflection of how we go about making the decisions that we make, and in the midst of it, we are willing to jeopardize the safety of our children. But let's continue right along. So he's already basically stating and displaying that he does not like children. Now also, the DA had asked him, you have no money to pay rent, but you have money to pay marijuana. Caesar says, yes, sir. So this goes to show you, I don't know what this young lady was thinking when she allowed him to be around her child. So evidently, he's not in no shape or form a benefit to you. He does not like children. He does not like to help you pay rent, but yet he wants to smoke weed. This is the mindset of the man that she chose to be around her child. So this says a lot about her. The person that you choose to allow in your life, and especially around your children, it shows your mindset. Okay? So, as the testimony goes on, the DA continues to ask him, so you want mercy from the jury, but you didn't have, but you didn't feel the need to have to show this baby any mercy. And he says no. Which is kind of, I would say, and I don't want to lose any brownie points for that, but that's like two questions. And you can't, I think that he kind of got cheated on that question, because it says you want mercy from the jury. No. Did you show mercy to this baby? No. So, I mean, is that a fair answer to say that applies to both questions? I don't know if that was a quick one that the DA used to their advantage, because basically he answered two questions in one. I don't know, but I don't want to think too deep on it, but let's move right along. But the DA continues to ask him, you popped her, and you popped her again, and he said yes. And the DA asked about, you popped her because she was crying, and that's what babies do, babies cry. He said yes. So you can just pretty much tell this man really did not want to have to be responsible for this child. I find it disturbing that you have some of these sisters out here, they cannot read the room. First of all, this dude is 25 years old. He has no children of his own. His age, and this is not to say because all 25-year-old men don't have this mindset, but I'm sure if his girlfriend, the mother of the child, had any kind of common sense, she should have saw some red flags, even if they were small ones. A person who does not have patience with children, you will see it in little things. You know, you will see that when the child tries to talk to them, they seem very distant. The child tries to conversate with them, they seem very distant. When you ask them to do something for the child, like, can you grab me another pamper, or can you, would you mind helping me with a car seat? That person seems frustrated. They seem annoyed. You have to be able to read the room, and it's unfortunate that some women are so asphyxiated on having a boyfriend. They cannot read the room. It had to be some signs there that this man was not into this woman's child, and that's why it's very imperative that you don't ever put yourself in a situation in which you end up with a person who does not like your children or does not respect your children or seem impatient with your children. Because at some point in time, especially when y'all in a relationship, and especially if y'all are living together, at some point you are going to have to leave that child in their care, even if it means going just to Circle K, going to get some gas. You got to go to work. Let's face it, childcare is very expensive, and childcare will close at a certain time, especially if you have to work night shift. There's no childcares that are open late. Some women don't have it like that, where they can get support from families. Their mamas won't keep their kids for them. Their sisters won't. Some of these women don't get along with the biological father of the child. So, and truth be told, some of these men, they don't feel like it's their responsibility to have to do their fair share when it comes to raising these children. They feel like once they send their money once a month, that's all they got to do. They don't feel like they have to actually be involved in the child's life. They don't have to accompany as far as sharing the load. That child being able to go with that father sometimes, so the mother can get a break. A lot of women are out here on their own. They really don't have any support from the baby daddy, from their family, and that could be at their own fault, based on how they treated people, based on how they disrespect people, based on how they have handled people who have tried to be there for them with their children. Some of these women, they do not care. They don't pick their kids up when they say they're going to pick them up. Or when they do drop them off, they drop them off dirty. They drop them off smelling like Newports and Cheetos. They don't drop them off appropriately, where they have clean clothes, diapers, milk, everything they need to accommodate the person that's willing to help them. You'll be surprised how a lot of these females handle their business when it comes to their children. And they put themselves in a bad predicament in which they cannot go to nobody. So who do they depend on? The boyfriend. The boyfriend. Or you have some of them that's so vindictive. If they do have a baby daddy who wants to be there for the child, who wants a relationship with the child, they're so angry and got so much animosity towards the baby daddy, to be spiteful, they would rather leave the baby with a stranger than leaving the baby with the biological father. You have some women that are just that evil and conniving. And I know a lot of you women out there don't want to believe that when I tell you these stories, but you do have some women out there that are very, very grimy. They will do that. They will intentionally let their child be with somebody else other than the father just to prove a point. Hopefully it's not the case with this. But basically, the DA went for the juggler and really tarnished this guy's character, and it didn't take much because this guy already, he unalived this baby. But the DA, if y'all was reading in between the lines, y'all can tell he was really trying to nail him to the cross, righteously so. He so deserves it. The DA threw him under the bus and said, didn't you tell someone last night that you can't understand why the prosecutor, Tatiana, would be upset about a dead baby since she has no children? So it just goes to tell you, it's dudes, whoever he's incarcerated, whoever his bunkie is, his bunkmate, whatever inmate he was talking to, If it wasn't an inmate, if he was talking to somebody on the phone last night, the DA wouldn't say who it was. But that person already said that he said he don't understand why the prosecutor is taking it so personal about a baby being dead when she don't have no children. This lets you know the mindset of this man, and that he has no compassion for life, no compassion for children, no compassion for women, period. He has no compassion, which he did indeed reply, yes, sir. So this further confirms that this young man is a danger to society. So the DA replies, do you think she can't have empathy for a dead baby because she doesn't have children? Says no, sir. So for a young man, you know, to have this much lack of empathy, it just goes to show you that this woman who chose him as her boyfriend, there's no way probable that she should have not seen any red flags. There's no way this person is all of a sudden just going to reveal what was this adamant against, you know, having compassion for life, having compassion for children. So going further along, y'all, because of some more information that the article, matter of fact, the article that I got this information from, y'all, in case y'all want to read into it yourself, is Fox for Beaumont. And hopefully I remember to put the freaking link in the comments section, because I always forget to put my links in. If I do, just somebody remind me, hit under the comments section and say, can you please post the link in case you want to look at more details later. There's more information still pertaining to this. Okay. So, they did receive the autopsy photos of the child that was entered into the evidence. So you could only imagine the jury seeing a baby with a cracked skull. Which definitely continue to put the nail in the coffin. Something about this website here, and this website is really giving really good information, but it keeps crashing. So basically, the testimony displays the fractures to the child's skull, swelling and hemorrhage of the child's brain, and an injury to her shoulder, and other injuries. It also displays that all of this began November 28, 2023, and prosecutor Coleman told the jury that Caesar told police he lost it when the alleged crime happened that led to the death of K.R. Stevens. That's the name of the 11-month-old victim. Coleman said Caesar was watching K.R. because the mother has started a new job. He told the jury that K.R. is not Caesar's biological daughter. Like I told y'all, most crimes that are committed against children are from men that are nowhere biologically related to the child. The jury was told by Coleman that Caesar called K.R.'s mother, Kitara Stevens, that day and told her that K.R. woke up from having a seizure. Coleman informed the jury that they would be hearing the 9/11 call that Caesar made after calling Katura, and they will see how the story changes over time. And basically that's what ended up happening. Caesar changed the story, saying that K.R. was eating crackers and then started choking. Then he tried to do CPR. Coleman told the jury that when they heard the testimony from EMS that there's no sign that K.R. was choking, had no response to pain, her eyes were not responding, and that there was no sign of head trauma. Further goes on, Caesar's attorney then began opening statements saying that Caesar did lose it like he told the police. Yes, he lost it. 25 years old, keeping somebody else's child who he obviously did not care enough about to want to keep. So, to give y'all a background of the case, y'all. Bryce Lawrence Caesar, 25, was indicted on March 2nd, 2022. Friday, December 3rd, 2021 at 2:45 p.m., Beaumont police was dispatched to St. Elizabeth Hospital in reference to K.R. Stevens, who was brought in for choking, according to probable cause. K.R. was pronounced dead later that day. The investigation revealed K.R. was transported from Settles Cove Apartments in Beaumont for breathing difficulties. The medical staff at St. Elizabeth said Caesar was at the hospital with K.R. along with her mother, Kataria Stevens. CAT scan performed in K.R. showed bleeding in the brain. There was also a large bruise on her right shoulder and left temple. She also showed signs of petechiae in her left eye. According to Caesar, K.R. woke up in lethargic state and had a seizure shortly thereafter. Caesar reported that he gave her some small crackers to eat. Short while later, Caesar and K.R. became unresponsive, and he shook her several times with no response. Then he patted her on her back numerous times and later called EMS. Katora was contacted and rushed to check on her baby. She said upon entering her apartment, she saw her daughter unresponsive. At the time, Caesar had outstanding warrants for traffic tickets in Beaumont, so he was arrested at the hospital and transported to the police department, where he spoke with detectives. Caesar continued to repeat his initial account and advised that K.R. was choking on a cheese cracker and the injuries could have only occurred when he attempted to clear her airway, according to the report. After speaking to detectives for an extended amount of time, Caesar said that he did not want to appear as a monster and wanted to tell the truth. Caesar went on to confess that he became angry at K.R. over alleged misbehavior. So he picked up and vigorously shook her to the point that K.R. ultimately became unresponsive. So y'all know that was a lot to take in. Definitely was a lot to read. And it's definitely very overwhelming. And the unfortunate part is that you have a lot of women who still have not learned to this day that it is not safe to just leave your children with any and everybody. In many cases, some of these men just don't have the temperament when it comes to children. And you can't assume because a guy is nice to your kids or a guy appears to be friendly with your children, and because your child has a liking towards that person, it does not mean that they're actually fit for that child to be left alone with them. And single mothers are definitely prone to getting in these type of situations because a lot of these women, in many instances, they want a family. And being a single mother, all the stress that comes with having to do it alone, having to do it by yourself. You meet someone that seems accepting of your child. It seems as if you finally have met someone that's willing to share that responsibility with you, and it does alleviate you to a certain degree, but the big risks that are involved when you allow a man that is not a father to your child. This man is 25 years old. He already has a record. He proves that he has a lot of immaturity. He was playing his game. His mindset basically done really proved that this man is childish. He was more into his game than he was into the child's well-being. He couldn't reason and comprehend and understand that you can pause and take a break on your game, see what's wrong with this child, tend to the child, then come back and go back into your game. Or pause the game, call a mother, let her know what's going on. Be honest and tell her, look, I'm getting very frustrated. I really don't have no patience to deal with this type of situation. It's a lot. The sooner you get here, the better. Because I'm literally on the edge. A lot of these men aren't going to go there and be honest. They will take your child out first. Before they be honest and tell you that they're not built for it. They're not built for the responsibility of it. Listen, taking care of other people's children is no joke. And you can tell in the picture. you in the mugshot, you could tell he had been crying. He literally was in tears, and I don't say that because I empathize or sympathize with him, but you can tell that there was nothing about him that displayed being a man. He was not nowhere in the mental state of taking care of this woman's child. You can see the boyishness written all over him. He was just that angry about his game. And he was so furious and infuriated with the fact that this child's crying interrupted his game. Basic common sense. As a grown woman, I'm not understanding why the mother would leave her 11-month-old on a man who is not that child's father. I find that very ironic that she felt comfortable to do that. She felt safe to do that. What would make her think a 25-year-old man who does not have children his own? Now, I mean, it's not to say that even if she made the wise choice, that it still couldn't have went the way it did. But it just goes to show you that she was really naive to think that a 25-year-old be able to properly care for her 11-month-old. Now, granted, he is an adult, but I'm sure at some point she saw some childishness in him. I actually know somebody in a similar situation like that right now. Now, only difference is this particular individual, these 3 children belong to him. Okay? They belong to him. And the mother, because she's a relative of mine, she basically stated that the father of her children does not like his own kids. She told me that the father of her children, he is not a family man. He gets frustrated very easily. He has no patience with his own children. She said he's very short-tempered. And even the children have expressed that they know their own father does not like them. Okay? So it's very clear to her, and she knows that the father of her children, he does not have patience with his own kids. And even the kids know their own father does not have patience with them. Now, this goes without saying, if you see all of these red flags, who's to say on a funky day, when he's in his moods, or he's having a bad day, that he don't snap or spank, hurt, or slap, harm or injure one of the kids because, he already has displayed he does not like to be a father. Women have to read in between the lines to understand, just because a man has a child with you, or because a man sees accepting of a child that you have from someone else, it does not mean he has the patience to be able to deal with your child when your child is not at their best. Let's face it, children act up, children get whiny, and even at times for mothers, it can become very frustrating. I remember having my first child and going through, those tantrums, those terrible twos. I was like, oh my Lord. I just wanted to jump off the bridge. My daughter almost drove me crazy. Those uncontrollable cries, those uncontrollable screams, the more you tell them to shut up, the louder they get, because babies crying is their only language. They cry about everything because that's their way of communicating. They cry if they hungry. They cry if they tired. They cry if they frustrated. They cry because their mama not around. This baby, Kaora, could have been crying for any of those reasons. Or crying because she could sense spiritually, this man does not like me. Listen, kids are very smart. They can sense when they are in the company of someone who really does not want to be bothered with them. Kids are more smarter than what we underestimate them for. And as a mother, you have to have that womanly intuition. You can't be so asphyxiated on going to work and making money that you're not paying attention to your child is crying more around this man, or this man seems irritated with your child when your child is asking too many questions. You got to be able to read the room. You got to be able to understand that pay attention to little things. If your child is talking to him, he seems annoyed, you know. If your child is asking too many questions, he'll be a little rude to the child. Why are you asking so many questions? You know, you can't ignore the little things. These are the things you have to pay attention to. This man went into a space of rage where he saw black. He couldn't even see that this baby was just a baby. All he saw is this little human being screaming and yelling out of control, screaming and crying out of control. He can't calm her down. He does not have fatherly intuition. Okay? A lot of these men who are caring for your children, they're not the father of your children. Very rare. You have stepfathers who have fatherly intuition. I was very fortunate to have a stepfather that really catered to me as a child, as if I was his own child. He paid attention to my body language. He paid attention to when I was sleepy, irritated, whatever. And he loved me enough to be willing to do whatever he had to do as a father figure to make sure I was comfortable, to make sure I was okay. Those days are very rare now. And what's going on is you have a lot of these men that are preying on single mothers. They know single mothers want fathers for their children. They know single mothers are lonely, stressed out, and want a male companion. And a lot of these guys, especially these builder bumps, are capitalizing off of it. If you're just that thirsty to where you've only known this guy for a couple of weeks and you're moving him into your home around your children, he's capitalizing off of that. Some women, again, they would rather leave the child with a stranger than to contact the biological father and say, I really need your help. I really need you to keep the baby a certain amount of hours throughout the day. Because let's face it, child care is very expensive. All women cannot get governmental assistance for child care. In some instances, the father is not involved in the child's life. And in instances like that, a woman has to get support anywhere she can get it. Not all women that are mothers have a lot of support. They don't have mothers. Well, they can leave the children with their grandparents. They don't get along with the baby daddy, either because she's chaotic or messy, or either the baby daddy just don't want to step up and be responsible. A lot of women that are single mothers are in a very vulnerable state, and they need support. And unfortunately, because we are in times in which rent is skyrocketing, bills have to be paid, you have to trust somebody. And I get it. You know, you have to trust somebody. And unfortunately, some women just don't learn. They don't get support from the first child, yet they have a second, yet they have a third. And they just keep piling more on their plate, more children on their plate. And the harder it is to find support when you have a lot of children. People keep one before they keep 2 and 3. But that's besides the point. Getting back to this at hand. This young man was nowhere built for that type of responsibility. I mean, he caused serious bodily injury to a child. Jurors listened to the heartbreaking testimony from Katora Stevens. This other additional information. He sent me a FaceTime call at my job, she testified. Bryce flipped the camera over. I saw KO on the bed. Bryce said it was an emergency. He said she woke up seizing and I had to get there. I rushed out of work, headed home to my apartment. Got there in 5 minutes. She was still in the position of the bed. Bryce had a towel and had it put on her head. So basically, you can tell based off of the details of this incident that the child had been bleeding frivolously from her head, because remember, he cracked her skull. At that age, they're still physically developing, so it does not take much for a child to be injured. And she stated he was just lying there. She didn't respond. I was shocked, and she said, "Mama's here, can you hear me?" She moved a little but didn't respond. Just a little hand twitch, that was it. He did not want to be responsible for that baby. He did not like that baby. And it was even easier for him to vent his frustration and take his frustration out on that child, because that was not his child. That was not his child. So it was easy for him not to have any compassion for that baby. You have to be able to read in between the lines, like I stated, and understand and know when a man does not want to be a father of your children. Don't force the issue, making yourself believe that, okay, if he's around your child more, or if you push the issue more, that eventually he'll like the child, he'll give in, they'll bond. You have some women that'll do this. They'll see the red flags and still will push the issue, and not understanding that you put your child in danger. You have to pay attention to a man's temperance when it comes to your child. If he snaps at your child, if he talks to your child all kind of way, does he ignore your child when your child asks questions? This is a very detrimental situation, y'all. Again, there's too many women that are comfortable with leaving strangers around your children. I don't care if that is your man. I don't care if y'all are dating, if y'all been together. Lest that man have been in your life for a couple of years, and even then it's very risky, because I've seen it happen. I've seen cases in which it's been men who've been with the mother for several years. Out the blue, he just snapped and hurt the child, and she never saw it coming. You have to pay attention to those signs, but nevertheless, this is a very tragic situation. This man is going to be incarcerated for this. It's going to go on his record. Obviously, he already had a history of, not being responsible. As the first article said, he wasn't paying no rent, but yet he was at her house, keeping her child playing video games, and injured the child because the child interrupted his games. These are the kind of young men that a lot of these women are picking up out here. Some of y'all out here may have daughters, nieces, and you see them leave their child with their boyfriends and fiancés all the time. When he realized what he did to that child, he realized he injured her, he panicked and called her mother. But damage was done. He was just that angry. First, he admitted to popping a child, not understanding that when you pop a child, it makes that child cry even more, and it makes them cry uncontrollably. Him not being a father, not having fatherly instincts, he could not sense that. What he probably thought was, if I hit the child more, maybe the child will stop. Not understanding the baby is 11 months old. He's not able to comprehend because he's not a father and he's not her father. Okay? So he's thinking the harder he spanks and pops this baby, that she's going to understand, I need to stop crying so he'll stop spanking me, or he won't hit me anymore. She's only 11 months. He wanted to play video games. He was mad he couldn't pay the bills. He couldn't pay for a haircut. And this is all according to prosecutor Tommy Coleman. Tommy Coleman, the prosecutor, says he wanted to make sure law enforcement had his version of events. he would admit to at least popping the child a couple of times so she could stop crying. He wanted to play video games. He was mad he couldn't pay the bills, couldn't pay for a haircut. You'll see the autopsy photos. They're hard to watch. This baby died from a skull fracture, y'all. The baby's skull was crushed. The defendant crushed the baby's skull because he wanted to play a video game. He wants to play a video game. The baby suffered from brain bleeding, a large bruise on the shoulder and bruising on her temple. So, over a video game, he totally lost control. And this is why black women, y'all have to be very mindful. Y'all picking up these builder bums who are not productive. A man that's not productive, he does not stand anything to lose. How he had a job, how he had bills he had to pay, he probably would have thought twice and realized how much was at stake had he injured this child and had to do time in prison. But because he already had nothing going for himself, when a man has nothing going for himself, he has nothing to lose. No more than a man who picks up a woman in the struggle. She doesn't work, has no type of independency, and he takes her in his home, and now he realizes she's a burden. He wants to get rid of this woman. She's giving him pure hell. She does not want to move out of his apartment. When you pick up a person that has nothing to lose, they don't have a problem with causing you to lose anything. It's a very sad situation, y'all. Nevertheless, Baby K was deeply loved by many. She enjoyed watching Coco Melon, eating her favorite Gerber strawberry banana puffs. Just an adorable little girl. It's very sad. I don't know the situation with her father, if he's aware, but I'm sure he should be aware, because this is a very very nationwide known case. It's very sad that a child had to lose her life in this manner, and the mother's gonna have to live with that regret for the rest of her life. You can't be taking in these dudes, who lack fatherly instincts, and it's just, basically he was cold-hearted, because you don't have to be a father to know that you don't shake a child and rough a child up. This man lost it. He went into a rage over a video game. Well, he ain't got to worry about it no more, because where he's going at, he's not going to be able to play any more video games. And the fact of what he's going to prison for, you know how many guys are not going to respect him off the merit of that? Imagine having to explain that story when they ask him, man, what you in here for? And most of them going to already know, because of course his mugshot is everywhere. Yeah, man, I was playing some video games and I got upset, and I shook my girlfriend baby to death, and I crushed her skull. A lot of offenders, they don't respect men who commit those type of offenses. So he's gonna have a hard time inside just as much as he created for himself on the outside. He will be eligible for parole eventually, but who's going to want to take that chance and hire him, seeing his record and what he's going to be coming out for? He's forever done. But the bad part about it is there's a family that's going to be scarred for a lifetime. My heart goes out to the baby and the baby's family, all of those who have been infected and impacted by this incident. My heart goes out to Bryce's family, because I'm sure he got parents, I'm sure he got family, and I know they looking at him with the side eye like, really? I don't feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for his family that's going to have to deal with the embarrassment and the humiliation. I'm sure he got parents. He got a sister. He got a Facebook page and people are going in on him, y'all. Somebody put, you don't deserve to be called a human. You're a pathetic little human piece of you know what. How can you live with yourself after beating the baby? I hope they beat you. Focus on not dropping the soap. Somebody put shame on your mama for not doing better at raising a human. Then somebody replied she should have swallowed. See, that's what I'm saying. Listen, the decisions you make, it affects everybody who has nothing to do with your actions. Everybody's going in and flooding up his page. See, he put, let me see, May. I think that was when he was locked up way before this incident. Okay, I see here, God just put me away for a little while to get my head right. I will be home soon. So you can tell he's been locked up a couple of times before. He's already got, the criminal justice system is already very familiar with him. Yeah, he's been locked up before. I'm going through down his Facebook page. I see he has posted prior prison pictures. Black women, we got to choose better. Women of all colors, we got to choose better. We got to be better. We got to be wiser. We have to stop being thirsty. Y'all picking up guys that are a recipe for disaster in your life. You can tell he's definitely, yeah, he's definitely a handful. Just looking at all his pictures and the way he's conducting himself on Facebook. Yeah, she trusted a thug around her daughter, but she's gonna have to live with that for the rest of her life, unfortunately. And again, my heart goes out to the family. So y'all leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about the situation. This is the Unhinged series. You know, when I do my Unhinged, I talk about crimes, you know, criminal situations that occur within the black community that we all can learn a lesson from. Again, ladies, be mindful of leaving your children around all type of men. Men, if you know you do not have the patience of keeping another woman's child, you know that you are not father material, you know you're not cut out for that type of responsibility, don't even open yourself up to that. Because dealing with somebody else's children is a lot. It is not easy. If you're not built for it, I advise you do not get involved with a woman who has children. Okay? So y'all be blessed. Hit that like button, please, before you exit. Again, big ups to everybody. Appreciate y'all. Anybody who wants to donate to my channel, I would gladly appreciate it. If you cannot donate, that is fine. Make sure you hit the like button, and any commercials, any ads, let it play so I can earn my revenue, you know, through the ads and the commercials. So that's another way of being able to donate. Don't forget, Christmas is coming up. You can put in orders for cups. You can put in orders for t-shirts, mugs, anything. Inbox me if you would like to send a nice gift to somebody for Christmas. Do it early. Also, I sell cable. $25 a month. I don't know how much your current cable bill is. If you're paying $200, $300, $400, however much you're paying, inbox me. I can save you some money for Christmas. You can even buy a Fire Stick from me, and I can send it as a Christmas gift for somebody who's probably struggling and who likes to watch cable, but they just cannot afford the cable bill. A lot of y'all are paying too damn much for cable. I cannot stress this more than enough. Get you a Fire Stick today. Loaded with over 12,000 channels. I got all the up-to-date movies, series, all the sports packages. Plus, you get live pay-per-view events free. Inbox me if you're interested so I can send you a Fire Stick and save you some money. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Talk to y'all another time.